At the Associated Students Children's Center, we use many different forms of assessment tools. We do these to ensure that we use the best practices possible. We use individual tools to assess our children, our staff, our parents' needs, the environment, and the overall program. We use these tools as an ongoing basis to evaluate our center. When working in the environment, you may come across these assessments and be asked to help collect data. The most common form of doing this is through anecdotal notes. These are factual observations that are written down. We ask that the format stay consistent throughout all of our classrooms and on all of the notes. These should look like this. It will contain the area, the child's name, the date, and the time with your name. The area is the location at what the anecdotal note takes place. The child's name is the children or child that the anecdotal note is about. The date is the date that it takes place. And the time is the time. This time might be one time, or it may contain a beginning and an ending time. We ask that you put your name at the bottom of the note in case we need any references. Sometimes you may need more than one side of the note, and it is okay to turn the note over and write on the back. Please check with your lead teacher about where these notes will be stored in your classroom. It's very important that these notes are factual. So, a couple examples of a factual note are writing the child's name Jill up top. The time was 10 o'clock. It says, I asked, "Who's that?" I pointed to a photo of Jill and her mother. She said, "Mama." She continued to look, then pointed to the picture of herself and said, "Jill." Signed by Bob. This note just contains what actually happened. It doesn't have what the observer thinks might have happened or any other views of the subject. Another example would be this took place outside of the playhouse. The child was John. It happened on the 1st of January 24th at 2 o'clock. John and two friends were in the playhouse. They opened and closed the windows. John stuck his head out of the window and said, "Boo," then laughed. There's a good assumption that they were playing peekaboo, but this note doesn't say that because it's not actually what happened. The child stuck his head out and said, "Boo." Reporting the factual information is very important on these notes, not to make them subjective. Getting all of this recorded, nice and readable, is a little difficult to do sometimes on floor. So it's okay to jot down a couple of little references and then at a quieter moment go back and rewrite the note in the proper format. We take these notes and we use them to help us fill out desired results, which are done on each individual child in our classrooms. Desired results, developmental profile revised, is an observational instrument used to assess children's developmental progress in the areas encompassing in the desired results for children. These include social emotional, language, cognitive, and physical development. The instrument is devised as a guide for program staff in making and recording observations and tracking individual progress towards the achievement of these desired results. There are 3 versions of the desired results revised. It develops to encompass all age groups. The first is the infant toddler, which is birth to 36 months. The second is preschool, 3 years to kindergarten. And the third is school age, kindergarten through grades 12. In order to capture the natural progression of children's development, each assessment overlaps the instrument from before. An example of a measure found under the indicator language is Measure 18, reciprocal communication. There are 6 levels, with the first level being children responds to the sounds with reflexes, and the last level being engages in simple conversation with caregiver that involves several ideas. A child that is between the ages of birth to 36 months would be measured on this scale. At the center, we also like to get parent feedback. This comes from the Desired Results Parent Survey. Once a year, we place this in the parent box and ask them to give us some feedback on how the program is working to meet their needs and their child's. We take this data and compile it and then return it back to the teachers in each of the classrooms so that we can make the necessary changes to meet those needs. In each classroom, an ECHRS, which stands for Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale, or an ITERS, Infant Toddler Environmental Rating Scale, is done once a year. This is an instrument that views the whole environment, from hand washing to room setup to interactions with children to staff provisions. To help guide staff, we use a staff feedback form, which was created by the center's director and a child developmental faculty. They took the best practices and created a form that encompasses 6 competencies. They include interactions with children, establishing and maintaining relationships, interactions with children, supporting self-regulations through appropriate guidance strategies and techniques, interactions with children, supporting children's emotional, developmental, and sense of security, interactions with children, establishing and explaining children's knowledge and learning, working with adults, staff, families, and community members, and professionalism. This form looks like this. Once a year, we ask that staff fill this out on their own, which is followed up with a meeting by the lead teacher in that classroom who has also done one. During the meeting, we discuss the feedback form and set goals. This form is to be used as a guiding tool to help ensure that the staff have the tools that they need to be successful in our environment. The center is an accredited site through the National Association of Young Children. In order to keep this accreditation, we must continue to assess our environment on an ongoing basis. A model that we like to use is this. This model represents the child being in the middle, with the family needs coming right around it, followed by the individual classrooms, followed by the overall program. It's important to see that the child is the main focus always in our classroom, but in order to meet that child's needs, we have to look at the program as a whole. Thank you.